My name is Rosa C. Morris, and I was 32 years old when my boyfriend texted me at 3 in the morning to say he had found his real soulmate. Until that night, I had not realized I was basically a utility bill with a heartbeat. For 3 years, I was the safe option. I paid most of the rent on our two-bedroom apartment downtown. I made sure the car insurance renewed on time, the refrigerator stayed full, and Jason's credit card debt never became a complete disaster. I was the foundation. But nobody stares at a foundation. They admire the view. And Jason loved the view. Jason was 26, but he lived like a teenager with access to someone else's platinum card. He worked part-time as a social media coordinator for a boutique that was constantly one bad month away from closing. Most days, he spent hours scrolling through videos and calling it market research. Meanwhile, I worked 60-hour weeks in logistics management, solving shipping delays, warehouse problems, and supply chain emergencies. Then I came home to dirty dishes and a boyfriend who sighed whenever I asked how his day had been. The cracks appeared slowly. I ignored them because I thought that was loyalty. I believed being dependable meant absorbing chaos without complaining. 2 days before everything ended, I came home after 8. I had been awake since 5 that morning. My eyes burned from spreadsheets, and I had not eaten since lunch. Jason sat on the kitchen counter scrolling through his phone beside an empty wine glass. "Did you eat?" I asked. "I ordered sushi." He did not look up. "There was not enough for you. I did not know when you would be home." Empty containers covered the coffee table. "It is fine," I said. "I will make something." I pulled out ham, cheese, stale bread, and the last of the mustard. While I made a sandwich, Jason finally looked at me. His expression was not affectionate, it was bored. "Is this really it, Rosa?" I paused. "Is what it?" "This life." He gestured around the apartment. "You come home tired. You make a sandwich. You fall asleep. Everything feels gray. It is called working." I kept my voice calm. "I am working this much so we can afford the Cabo trip you want." Jason rolled his eyes. "You always make everything about money." "Because money pays for everything you keep asking for." "It is not about that. It is about fire. Excitement." He jumped down from the counter. "You are too safe. Too predictable." "Stable," I corrected. "You are boring." The word landed harder than I expected. "I need a woman who makes me feel alive," he continued. "Not someone who makes life feel like a waiting room." He walked into the bedroom and slammed the door. I ate my sandwich over the sink. For the first time, I did not follow him. I did not apologize for paying our bills. 2 nights later, Jason prepared for what he called guys' night. The apartment smelled of expensive cologne. He wore a black shirt I had bought him, styled his hair, and charged several $100s in new clothes to our shared card. "Do not wait up," he said. "I was not planning to." He gave me the same look of pity and contempt. "Try to have a pulse while I am gone." Then he left. I locked the door, changed clothes, and collapsed into bed. At 3:14 a.m., my phone vibrated against the nightstand. I assumed it was a work emergency. Instead, I saw a photograph from Jason. Nightclub lights flashed behind him as he kissed a woman in a leather jacket. Her hands were around his neck. His eyes were closed. Then his message appeared. "I finally found her. A real woman with fire who understands me. We are soulmates. Sorry, Rosa, but you are flat. Goodbye, loser." I read it twice. I waited for anger, for panic, for heartbreak. Nothing came. Instead, I felt lighter. The spending, the exhaustion, the constant fear of being called boring. It all disappeared. Jason had given me the one thing I had been unable to give myself: a clean exit. "Okay," I whispered. I placed the phone face down. Then I rolled over and went back to sleep. I woke at 8 without an alarm. The apartment was silent. Jason's side of the bed was untouched, but seeing it did not hurt. It looked less like evidence of betrayal and more like confirmation that the problem had removed itself. I made coffee and drank it beside the window. The city moved below me as if nothing had happened. Cars crawled through traffic. People hurried along the sidewalks. Somewhere, Jason was probably sleeping beside the woman he had called his soulmate. I felt strangely calm. Then I started packing. I pulled 2 suitcases from the closet and took only what belonged entirely to me. Clothes, my laptop, work documents, my watch collection, photographs from before Jason, a jewelry box my grandmother had given me. I left the television, furniture, dishes, and decorative pieces he had chosen. I did not want reminders disguised as possessions. It took 45 minutes. Then I opened my laptop. The joint account contained money I had mostly earned. I transferred my personal savings into an account Jason could not access, leaving enough to cover obligations already scheduled. Next came the credit card. The previous night's charges were still pending. The Velvet Room, $450. An expensive car service, late-night liquor. Jason had financed his betrayal with my credit. I selected the card he carried and reported it compromised. The bank canceled it immediately. Then I called our landlord. "Mr. Henderson, this is Rosa Morris. I need to use the lease break clause and remove my name from the apartment." He sounded confused. "Is Jason aware?" "He will be." I paid the fee and 2 additional months of rent, so there would be no legal connection between me and the apartment after that morning. It was expensive, but freedom sometimes had a price, and for once, I was willing to pay it. By 10, my suitcases were beside the door. The apartment looked almost unchanged. That was the unsettling part. 3 years of my life could disappear from a room without disturbing the cushions. I removed my key from the ring and placed it on the kitchen counter. Then I wrote one word on a yellow note. "Congratulations." I stuck it beside the key. I did not leave an explanation. Jason had already explained everything. I drove to a hotel downtown, checked in, and ordered the largest breakfast on the menu. At noon, my phone started ringing. "Jason." I let the first call end. He called again. Then again. Messages appeared between the calls. "Rosa. Answer me. Where are you? Something is wrong with the cards." I cut into my eggs and finally answered. "Hello. Where are you?" Jason sounded breathless and panicked. Traffic and wind roared behind him. "I am having breakfast." "What do you mean breakfast?" "I am stranded." "That sounds inconvenient." "My card was declined. I cannot get a ride." "Something is wrong with the bank account." I took a sip of coffee. "Where is your soulmate?" Silence. Then the crying started. Not quiet tears. Loud, desperate sobbing. "She left." "Who?" "You know who." Jason struggled to catch his breath. "I woke up at the hotel and she was gone. She said she was getting coffee, but she checked out. She blocked me. They made me pay some of the room charges with the cash I had." I looked through the hotel window. "That sounds stressful." "Rosa, please, I was drunk. I made a mistake." "You sent me photographs." "I did not mean what I said." "You typed it." "I was stupid." "Yes." His voice broke. "Please come get me. We can talk. I love you." The words sounded empty. "You do not love me, Jason." "That is not true. You love what I pay for." "Stop punishing me." "I am not punishing you. I am respecting your decision." He went quiet. "You said you found your soulmate. You said goodbye." "I changed my mind." "I did not." His breathing stopped for a second. "What does that mean?" "I moved out." "What?" "The key is on the counter. The apartment is now your responsibility. My name is off the lease. The shared card is canceled." His panic sharpened into anger. "You cannot do that." "I already did." "How am I supposed to pay the rent?" "Ask the woman with fire." "Rosa, you are being insane." "You texted goodbye, loser." I let the words hang between us. The loser listened. He started shouting my name. I interrupted him. "Wrong number." Then I ended the call and blocked him. For several minutes, I stared at the dark screen. I expected guilt. Instead, I felt peace. Jason had wanted excitement. Now he had it. And for the first time in 3 years, I had a future that did not require carrying him. Blocking Jason did not stop the fallout. It only redirected it. 2 hours after I ended the call, my phone lit up with a number I recognized immediately. Sarah, Jason's closest friend. Sarah had always encouraged his worst instincts because chaos made her feel useful. She was the person who told him he deserved excitement whenever responsibility bored him. I sent the call to voicemail. Then the messages arrived. You are disgusting. He is hysterical. How could you leave him with nothing? Pick up the phone, coward. I ignored everyone. I was busy arranging a long-term rental, forwarding my mail, and separating the last shared accounts Jason could still reach. Then his mother called. Linda had never liked me. She considered logistics work too ordinary for her son, even though my salary had supported the lifestyle she praised him for having. I let the call go to voicemail. Her message was controlled at first. Rosa, I just spoke with Jason. He is devastated. After 3 years together, you abandoned him during a crisis. Then her tone sharpened. You are behaving like a vindictive little girl. Fix this immediately, or I will come to your office and make sure everyone knows what kind of woman you are. That threat changed everything. Jason had not told them the truth. He had created a version where I had vanished without warning, emptied the accounts, and left him stranded because I was cruel. He was protecting his image by destroying mine. I opened the screenshot from 3:14 a.m., Jason kissing another woman, his message beneath it. I finally found her. We are soulmates. Goodbye, loser. Then I opened the group chat containing our mutual friends, Sarah and several of Jason's cousins. I attached the screenshot. Since everyone is asking why I left, Jason ended our relationship last night after announcing that he had found his soulmate. I respected his decision. Please direct further questions to him. I sent the same image to Linda. This is the crisis you mentioned. His soulmate may be available to assist with transportation and rent. The reaction was immediate. Typing bubbles appeared, disappeared, returned. Then silence. Sarah stopped messaging. Linda never replied. There was nothing they could defend without admitting exactly what Jason had done. The truth required only one screenshot. 2 weeks later, I received an email from Mr. Henderson. Jason had failed to pay the rent. Since my name had been removed from the lease, the landlord was beginning eviction proceedings. He also mentioned that the apartment had deteriorated quickly. Trash filled the kitchen. Wine stained the carpet. Several fixtures were damaged. Without someone managing his bills, cleaning the rooms, and absorbing his chaos, Jason had unraveled. Eventually, he moved back into his mother's house. The suburban home he once described as a prison became his only option. I did not celebrate. I was too busy rebuilding. I found a loft closer to work with exposed brick, high windows, and floors Jason would have complained were too industrial. I loved it immediately. My commute became shorter. My expenses dropped. I returned to the gym 4 mornings a week. My savings began growing again, now that they were no longer feeding Jason's spending. I slept deeply. No late-night arguments. No anxious checks of the credit card balance. No boyfriend sighing because stability failed to entertain him. 3 months passed. 90 days was enough time for my body to understand that the danger was over. One Sunday morning, I sat alone in a coffee shop reading the news. A shadow fell across my table. I looked up. Jason stood there. But he no longer looked like the man from the nightclub photograph. His hair was untidy. Dark circles sat beneath his eyes. His clothes looked old and badly fitted. He held the strap of his bag with both hands as if it were the only thing keeping him steady. "Rosa?" he said quietly. I did not stand. "Jason." He shifted awkwardly. "I saw your car outside. What do you want?" The directness made him flinch. I wanted to apologize properly. I waited. "I know I hurt you," he continued. "I know I destroyed everything." "You did not destroy me." His eyes lifted. "You freed me." Tears formed immediately. "Please do not say that." "It is true." "My life is a disaster," he whispered. "I lost the apartment. I am living with my mother. Most of our friends will not speak to me." He paused, waiting for sympathy. "I miss us." I looked at the empty chair across from me. He had not come because he understood what he had done. He had come because life without my support was harder than he expected. "Can we get coffee?" he asked. "Just talk. Maybe start again." I closed the news article on my phone. Jason still believed the shelter he burned down would welcome him back the moment it started raining. He was about to learn that some exits only opened once. Jason sat down without waiting for an invitation. "I know you think I only miss the apartment and the money," he said, "but that is not true." I studied him across the table. 3 months earlier, I would have searched his face for sincerity. I would have tried to separate guilt from love, panic from regret. Now, I simply listened. "You were my best friend," he continued. "I made one terrible mistake." "No." He looked confused. "It was not one mistake." His eyes dropped. "Rosa, you chose to go out looking for excitement. You chose to kiss another woman. You chose to photograph it. You chose to send it to me. Then you chose the words goodbye, loser." His face tightened. I was drunk. Alcohol did not type the message. A few people at nearby tables had begun glancing toward us, but I kept my voice low. Jason leaned forward. "She meant nothing. That does not help your argument. I thought there was something real there. And when she left you with the hotel bill, you remembered me. That is not fair. It is exactly what happened." Tears slid down his face. "Everyone makes mistakes. Cheating is not a mistake. It is a sequence of decisions." His breathing became uneven. I realized what I lost. I set my coffee down. "You did not lose me." He stared. "You threw me away." The words seemed to hit him harder than anger would have. He reached across the table. I moved my hand before he could touch it. "Please," he whispered. "Just give me one chance." "To do what?" "To prove I can change. You had 3 years to value me while I was there." "I did value you." "No. You valued stability." He shook his head quickly. "That is not true. You valued paid rent, full cupboards, insurance that renewed automatically, someone cleaning up financial problems before they reached you. I loved you. You loved the life I built around you." Jason stood abruptly. Several people turned. "So 3 years meant nothing?" I rose slowly and picked up my keys. "It meant a lesson." His face crumpled. "Please do not walk away. You already said goodbye. That was not real. It became real the moment you sent it." He moved around the table and caught my arm. "Rosa, please." "She was nothing. You are the person I want." I looked down at his hand until he released me. "You do not want me." His shoulders dropped. "You want shelter." I stepped closer, keeping my voice calm. "But once you burn the shelter down, you do not get to complain about standing in the rain." He began crying harder. I felt no satisfaction, only certainty. For years, I had mistaken exhaustion for commitment. I believed love meant carrying someone until they finally learned how to stand. Jason had never planned to stand. He had planned to keep riding. "So that is it?" he asked. "Yes." "No second chance?" "No." "You are cold." "Maybe." I slipped my bag over my shoulder. "But I am no longer tired." I walked toward the door. Behind me, Jason said my name one final time. I did not turn around. The bell above the coffee shop entrance chimed as I stepped into the sunlight. I got into my car, turned on the radio, and drove toward the loft that belonged only to me. My bank account was growing. My nights were peaceful. My life no longer depended on keeping someone entertained enough not to betray me. Jason had called me boring because I provided stability. Now I understood that stability was not a flaw. It was something valuable, something earned, something no longer available to anyone who treated it like weakness. His betrayal did not end my life. It returned it. And for the first time in years, every part of that life was mine.